Sam, you walked away when I was talking to you. How dare you? That I'll never forgive you for this.
Which time?
Just a minute ago.
Oh, right, yeah.
But what I was saying is that I was in the YouTube algorithm at the minute. There's a guy who's taking clips of like the streams and stuff.
Right.
And one of them was from a golf session that I think we did last week. Right. And it's weird because in the comments, like people keep bringing up, "Oh my God, is that SR Sam?" Like it's happening to an alarming degree. So your reputation is preceding you, it appears.
Chuck, stop it!
You see,
oh my goodness!
Because all I know,
you're making.
Because to me, you're just like, you're Dinklebeans, mate. You know, obviously I'm not in that ecosystem. I don't really, follow anything that your clan do. Although that being said, I think we did play Rust once.
We kind of did.
Yeah.
We interacted, but it wasn't like much. It was kind of like we were just
on the same map. Yeah. Well, I got a lovely message in my mailbox from someone. I don't know who it was. I think it was. I was told it was the wife of somebody. It was just like a great hello, lovely to meet you sort of thing. And I can't remember who it was. All I know is it was the wife of a prominent member of your clan, or the girlfriend or something.
It might be a girlfriend. I think I know who it is.
And I spent that whole Rust session in continual fear that, like, you or, like, some of your guys were going to raid or whatever.
Soviet, I was told to leave a message. The Cawfee Can Killer is coming for you. He's I don't know who it is, but they put on, like, a really Boston accent. So he said, the Cawfee Can Killer is coming for you.
That's KJ.
Yeah, so it turns out Tinkle is the Cawfee Can Killer.
Okay.
He ran into one of your
One of my mines?
Yeah.
Yes!
And I just hear him go, "Ow, what the fuck? I mean, it's the Cawfee Can Killer." And then he tried to trade me a syringe for like a paddle.
Okay.
And I said, "I'd rather have the guitar." And then he said, "But I want to keep the guitar." So I shot him and I took the guitar.
Nice.
Yes.
And then I helped him up. And now there's 3 other people outside.
Oh.
One being an officer of the law, I believe.
Okay.
Because he screamed, "It's the Cawfee Can Killer," and then ran after Dinkle, who ran away.
It's an attack. Stay inside.
They're staying outside. And
seal
I think...
all the doors. Remember, the doors are the same reason that ships have watertight doors. Don't let the water in. What they could be doing is probing ahead of an attack. So don't be like, "Oh yeah," and then you run outside and then fucking open up the defenses.
No. I just got a guitar.
I mean, from what I've heard, it sounds like that's more of a you thing.
It's a Rust thing. Trust me on that. Only for Dinklebean, and I think this chucklefuck, who was it, you, Dex? Came like cavorting over in a hot air balloon, and I thought, this is it. Here comes the attack.
Oh, that was him.
That was him.
Was that you?
That was me.
All this hot air balloon did, it went da 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 da, and then it crashed into the barbed wire fence right in range of my turret, which just hosed them, and they were just going.
It's really funny because you were like terrified of us coming along and doing that.
Yeah.
And the majority of what we did was build stuff. Just kind of like asked about being quite peaceful. we held a talent show at one point at our base where we had like loads of people there. Yeah, we were so chill. We were like really like peaceful.
So I was in fear, just on a hill, going, "Where are they?"
But man, honestly, that Rust was probably one of my favorite.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was
good.
so good. I loved it so much.
We had the right balance of not too much kill on sight, not too much care bearing.
Yeah.
Like, I think Rust is vulnerable. If it tips one way or the other, then it gets lame, in my
I
opinion.
think that's what happened to the session afterwards, because that one I did play. There was a lot of happy moments, but there's also some stuff. I'm not going to talk about it. But,
there was too much care bearing. It's like half the server was just off making art in the corner, not fighting. It's like, well, what are we doing, for fuck's sake? Like, there were 13 people on the server, and 3 of them had the entire Rust map to themselves, myself included. The other 10 were just off drawing artwork and playing Habbo Hotel, basically. And it's like, what do we do? Fight, it's
There was one memory I remember where one of my friends, Lily, she's at the time was so just new to all of that, and we had her on the server going around, and I think we bumped into Tom. He had like his own shop and stuff.
Yeah.
And we wandered in, and she's there like, "Whoa, this is cool. Is this like robot? Is this like, you know, somebody in the game? And we're like, yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes, it is. And Tom stood there, and he's acting like an NPC towards us. And then it got to a point where she kept like annoying him to the point where he started shooting us up, and we all got in the car and ran away. And I was like, and he's like, whoa, I can't believe that's an NPC. That's so cool. That was where I first met Dinkelbean. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were friends before then.
No,
okay.
we met in that and then like just bonded almost immediately.
Yeah.
And
you seemed like a same wavelength individual. Excellent. Let's go cause carnage.
It's great when that happens because it's like cohesion, like a clan member. He's not around anymore, but it was a case of in DayZ, literally bumped into him in the fucking literal street of Cherno, and within like a few sentences we realised, you know, like we got the similar sense of humour, and off we go, and then like years of a fucking adventuring onwards from that point onwards. Reminds you of WoW together with the music. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I thought I even heard a sound effect from the Barons to my right there. For those unfamiliar, I was one of the no-life sad acts who got sucked into WoW hardcore time. You know, really, really, like every hour of every free hour of every free day, after work, before work, on the weekends, I was lost. I was completely out of control. What changed? Everything. The game changed, really. There was an expansion pack which was called Cataclysm. So World of Warcraft Cataclysm, and it followed a highly well-regarded expansion which was called Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King was actually very good. It did have some problems here and there, but it was actually very good. Anyway, for years and years and years, there was talk about putting in like it was an April Fool's joke. These pandas or whatever. It was some artwork that some lead artist had done of like a drunken monk panda thing. And apparently he was just obsessed. He was just obsessed with these fucking pandas. Anyway, then the April Fool's joke suddenly became frighteningly real, and there was talks about actually putting these pandas into WoW. And lots of people were like, you can't be serious. Is that real? What is it? Expectations were low for the next expansion, and Cataclysm itself was kind of lame, in my opinion. The reason why Cataclysm, the expansion before Mists of Pandaria, was lame, in my opinion, is that they decided to update the entire game world. Which makes sense on paper, but the problem is if you update all of your game world, every single zone, you kind of, well, two big problems. The first one is that most people won't be replaying the game from the beginning. This is already a very mature MMO. Most people have been leveling... So their logic, Blizzard's logic back in the day, was that you can just level alts, right? Alternate characters to see the new content. But most people have been leveling alts for years now. Lots of people had lots of alts. Like, it's been a thing for a long time. So the prospect of leveling more alts wasn't really appealing for many people. You'd see the new content, but achievements were in the game by then. What's the point? You're just making a Smurf alt that doesn't really have everything your existing alts have. And the other problem is that by updating everything that was old, you kind of pave it over and replace it with what's new. And a lot of what was new was sort of referential to what was old without actually being able to experience the original. And I felt that it in many ways, me, as one of these no-life WoW characters who have been around since Classic, I had, as many people did, an encyclopedic knowledge on, oh yeah, go here, do this quest, speak to this NPC, do that. By replacing it, you kind of paved it all over, and I don't know, I started to feel like an outsider. All of a sudden, I didn't recognize the game anymore. Nor was I that thrilled about the direction that it was going. So I peaced out. I thought, now's a good time to finish. But I got my fun out of WoW for sure. Did loads of stuff in WoW, had lots of fun, did lots of raids. Wasn't even that hardcore like raiding stuff, but we did raid. Told many stories to the chat about great successes during the raid stuff that we did. No, I've told the story of Hodir many times, haven't I? Oh, it was one of my favourite memories in World of Warcraft. I'll take it to my grave. It was wonderful. Yeah, try fucking 25-man Mimron. Oh, that was chaos. We struggled with 10-man. So in short, my guild at the time were doing very well in Ulduar 10-man. So if you don't know what Ulduar is, in World of Warcraft there's a raid. It's basically like a prison for the gods, or rather a prison made by the gods to imprison a god, right? So it's this great big ethereal, very beautiful raid. It was very, very impressive at the time. Lots of people loved Ulduar. And so anyway, we're doing very well in the 10-man, but we don't have the men for 25. If you want to do 25-man content, you need more than just 25 men. You need quite a large number for the sake of, replacing people who can't make it, or, just getting the right roster for the right bosses. So we just didn't have the numbers. So a friend came to me and said, "Hi, I have an alt in another guild that has the same problem. They are trying to do 25-man, they can't. They're doing quite well in 10-man Ulduar. Shall we team up?" So an arrangement was made between my guild and their guild. We would both supply, 10 either side, and we would try 25-man Ulduar. So our guild at the time was not raiding focused. We did raid, sort of in a casual capacity, but we weren't one of the major raiding guilds. We just did it on the side for fun, okay? This other guild that we're working with is a raiding guild, so a lot of people are quite like, oh, okay, hopefully we'll be okay. We get in, the people are okay, they're getting into the swing of it, and then we face a boss called Hodir. Now, Hodir is basically a big giant. A huge giant whose gimmick is that it's what's known as a battle for survival. So what this means in gameplay terms is that grand strategy doesn't matter. It's all about an individual fight for survival on a character level. So in other words, you've got to mind yourself, mind your surroundings, make sure you stand in the right places, don't stand in the wrong places, do the right things at the right time. It's all about timing. You've got to be very precise with the timing. Why? Because the boss, who is a big ice giant, will smash his mace onto the ground, which will cause loads of stalactites to fall from the ceiling and smash into the ground, making piles of snow. Then he will cast a spell which freezes the ground. So if you're touching the ground, you get frozen into a block of ice. So what do? Well, you climb onto... So you dodge the icicles as they fall, so you don't get killed by them, and then you climb up onto the ice pile and survive the spell. So it's this intense battle for survival. Fight begins, okay? All 25 people run in. I'm raid leading. I've got my 15 from my guild. This guy has his 10 men. And they are awful. They are so bad. So the mage doesn't know how to control their mage, doesn't know how to control his aggro, and immediately pulls the boss off the tank and dies. Their people are all over mine. They're quite literally climbing on my raiders who are pushing them away, going, "Get the fuck off! Why are you standing in my space?" Their DPS is okay, so their damage over time is okay, but they are just... They're not trained for this. So they don't have any raiding experience, despite the gear. And our group are amazing. We are just moving left and right. We have played WoW so long with this one group, moving all the way from Molten Core and Classic, to all the way to Cataclysm, that we know how we all work. We work together as this team. So before long, almost all of their team members, their guild members, are dead. And we 15-man Hodir. And we win. On attempt 1 on 25-man Hodir. And I have never been so we were tested. We were tested against a raiding guild. We were measured and found to be not wanting in the slightest. And it was just this wonderful sort of happy memory where, the raiders that you've kind of worked with and trained, all these years and years and years, not only do well, but do so well that we 15-man a 25-man boss. It was great. A notorious 25-man boss, because how much of a pain in the arse he is. How did the other guild feel about fucking up like that? Alas, it's a bit of a sad story in the end, because we didn't want to cause damage to their guild. We wanted to work with them. But unfortunately, apparently, seeing how put together we were versus them, it caused a bit of a membership bleed for them after that fact. I guess because those members decided that they could probably get,
better raiding opportunities elsewhere. Did any of them get the gear? Oh yeah. So it's completely level playing field, Eric. So in our guild, it was a case of if you fight in that boss battle, you have earned the right to roll on the gear. We shunned DKP, so like a currency-based system, because we always felt that if you turn up and you spend your time to fight a raid boss, you should have the right to roll. I wouldn't have the energy now, though. I'm nearly 40. I don't have the energy to fucking sit there for 5-6 hours in molten core, waiting for a warlock to become available before we go up against Baron Gar, or whatever his name was. It's like, oh Jesus, who has the time? Yeah, I tell you what I don't miss. I don't miss the fucking guild dramas and shit. Ugh. I do not miss that. And sorry, I know that I should not say this openly. When it comes to drama, I don't know why. I'm hand on heart. I'm just saying how it was. Maybe other people's experiences were different. This is just how it was for me in WoW. So much drama from like the girlfriends that would come in. It was madness. Like they were all trying to they had daggers at each other's throats. There were like 7 or 8 girlfriends that would come in, and they would just be like constantly trying to manipulate and snipe each other. And it was like, what is going on? Why just relax and hang out with each other? It was just constant, like, she said this and she said that, and how dare she? I'm like, bloody hell, you're ladies in your 30s. Like, we legit had something kick off. I remember this because the atmosphere was really dour because we were standing on the temple of this place called Zul'Gurub, and we had this drama kick off between these two. I think it was more than that. I think it was like a small group, like a gaggle of ladies. But it kicked off. We were literally on the steps of Zul'Gurub about to fight a boss called Hakar. And then, like, fucking one of them just, like, kicked off and just left the guild in the middle of the raid.
I was on a game show when I was a kid.
Really? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What game show?
It was called All or Nothing. Barely anyone watched it, but I won a GameCube.
Oh my god, for real?
Sick, yeah.
Is there any footage of this?
You can find footage of the show, just not the episode I was on.
Uh-huh.
So it was like two on each team.
Ah.
And I was with one of my best friends. Shut up, you. I was with one of my best friends.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to a Welsh school when I was younger and everything. And
condolences.
Yo.
Holy shit, dude.
We had there was like loads of the way it worked. It was kind of sad for some of the contestants. Like 4 or 5 teams against each other.
Yeah.
What they had this like podium everybody went up to, and there was like a big machine like this where it was all the you like drop something at the top and it bounces between everything.
Like marbles almost.
Yes.
Or something.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. And what it would do is every round they would have everybody drop their balls in, and it would like whoever fell whoever's like color it landed in the most would go into the first game.
Yeah.
And then it would go, okay, who's against them? And it would then do the same thing. But whoever won stayed on.
Huh.
And then they do the ball thing to see who else
Yeah.
went against them. And me and my friend got picked for the first one. I think we lost it. And then in the next round, we got picked again. And then just won every single round back to back. And there was like one of the teams that did not get a go at all.
Oh no.
I think there might have even been 2.
Oh
and then
no.
we got to the final thing, and they had this. Oh god, this is one of the greatest sources of my shame when I was a kid.
Okay.
They had
Did
this
you
like
cheat?
no, they had a machine in front of it, and there was like 5 colored buttons, and what they needed was to have you. One person was on the buttons, and like it had a little keyboard next to it, and the other person was by all these boxes. So the one player would stick their hand in and would reach in and feel around at what they felt, and then yell it out, and the other person had to spell it. And my friend was the one feeling for the different.
And you were spelling. Oh no.
Hey, we went through a couple of them, no issues, and then he's like, "I think it's a tractor."
What did you spell?
I put TRAKTER. I was like 10, and it gets worse because it didn't work. And I was like, I wonder why it's not working. And they come over and went, "You really struggled with that word. You must have been spelling it in Welsh." And I went, "Yes, that's what I was doing." Here's the secret: K is not a letter in Welsh. ever since then,
Yeah.
my spelling improved drastically, and I wondered why.
Has this ever happened to you?
I was very anal about my grammar from that point on, and I was like, nope, this ain't happening ever again.
Every time you play that GameCube after, he's like, fucking, you know, can't help but reminded.
Fucking tractor.
Yeah.
I'm just
Is
there
it
like,
GameCube with a K?
oh my God.
Sorry, GameCube with a K. Oh, fuck.